You should've messed with me. You should've messed with me. You should've messed with me.
What is going on, guys? Gooners, Goonerettes. Time for us to have a little chat and catch up with each other. How's everybody doing? It's hot as Hell's Kitchen in here, man. But what's really weird is already Arsenal fans are saying, where's the transfers? Where's the business? Guys, the transfer window don't open till tomorrow. What on earth? I mean, are you that desperate? Are you that desperate? But anyway, there's good news. First of all, I want to shout out Stan and Josh, the Kronkers, KSC, another one over the line. Denver Nuggets last night beating Miami Heat. I'm actually quite shocked that it ended up 4-1 in the series, because the Heat are one of the best teams on the road this season and really done a lot of damage to teams throughout the playoffs. I was looking at Jimmy Buckets and I was looking at Bam, and they did all they could, but the supporting cast for the Miami Heat didn't really come on. And the big thing about Denver Nuggets, we got Jokic, and then you've got the supporting cast, which just got better and better as the season went on. Michael Porter hit some big threes last night, and he's coming in, driving to the basket, making deuces. The biggest thing is Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray that they haven't had literally for a whole season. And he was their star a couple of years ago when him and Donovan Mitchell came onto the scene. And Jamal Murray has just been clutch. He's been averaging over 30 points in the playoffs, and he's just been absolutely clutch from inside, outside. His mid-range jumper and his three-pointer beyond the arc, he's just been killing teams, and it's really made Jokic's job much more easier. Aaron Gordon's come off the bench and he's done his thing and come up with points when needed to. So the whole energy has been there. And quite frankly, I'm surprised that the Denver Nuggets just blew the Miami Heat out of the water. You can tell I know my NBA, right? So, yeah, listen, congratulations to them and a whole trailing load of teams, Rams, Colorado, Avalanche, a whole heap of teams that the Kronkers own has now got over there. And Arsenal really got close last season. So it just goes to show that the owners are doing the right thing in supporting all of their clubs. And you can't blame them for what happened last year, because money was available. It's always been available. Since Josh Kroenke came in 2008, all he's done is backed Edu and Richard Garlick and all them guys in the transfer market. All he's done is back them. Even in the January transfer window, he still went out there and gave them 100 million. Now, they didn't land Mudryk, but they still spent the money on targets they needed to help the team forward. So, look, guys, I just want to say congratulations to them, because the front office has been absolutely fantastic. I left a message on the forum the other day about it, but I didn't really get the time to talk about it in great detail. Edu and them guys have just been flawless. You can't ask for your front office to back you any more than how they've backed you. You can't say that Arsenal are being outspent in the market, and we're talking about their averages, and we're not talking about what Chelsea did last summer, spending 600 million and finishing 12th. Yeah, nobody's into that. So let's just judge Arsenal on everybody else. And they are in and about those teams in the top 3, top 4 teams spending money. And you've got to appreciate the fact that they're in it. And as for getting the business done, Arsenal have pretty much tied up Gabriel, Martinelli, they've tied up Saka, they've tied up Reece Nelson, and now Saliba. All of that is closing in. So you have to say congratulations, fantastic work that they've done. You're literally going to be entering a season now. Once this Rice deal's done, and I talked about Jacob from the Guardian, who's a really, really good source, he's coming in and saying that the deal is imminent. Within the next 72 hours, this thing can be closed. I did say last week it's going to be around 100 million, and that wasn't because I heard anything from sources. It was just because when one team's offering 90 and the other team wants 120 million, the mediator says, just common sense, guys, that once you sit at the table, which they're doing right now, because the personal terms have all been agreed, but when you're now sitting at the table negotiating, there's going to be a consensus, there's going to be an understanding, and the teams have to come to an agreement. And that agreement meeting in the middle is somewhere around the 100 million mark. So it didn't surprise me that we heard that news coming forward, because that's what I thought was going to happen all along. But it does mean, guys, once this deal goes through, that Arsenal would have entered a transfer window. Entered, guys. When the window's not over until another 2 months. So you would have entered the transfer window with all your key players re-signed and your key target, your number one target in the summer, bagged. That is incredible. And that is what needs to be talked about. Not, where's the signings? Why haven't we made a signing yet? Yeah? It's an incredible job what those guys have done. And you have to give them kudos for the work that they've put in. And I'm really, really happy to see it happen. So, guys, it's just a matter of days now. And I think we have to talk about this in the context where sometimes when players are available, a lot of teams are allowed to go in for those players. But what happens is if a team is deep in talks with a player, other teams tend to back off out of respect. I know Chelsea did this when we were after Mudryk. They did talk to Schalke and they said, look, if it doesn't work out with Arsenal, come back to us. It didn't work out with Arsenal. They phoned at Chelsea straight away and the deal was done within 48 hours. So what I'm saying is there's a level of respect when they know a player wants to go to a team, because every team's allowed to phone and inquire. Yeah, what's happening with Declan Rice? Has there been any bids in? Is he in talks with any other teams? So the word from the West Ham owners was yes, his preferred choice and the deal that he's settled on personal terms has been with Arsenal. So he wants to go Arsenal. Many teams now after him, Man United, Chelsea, would have been like, okay, so if that doesn't work out, give us a call and then we'll negotiate with the player. Because you got to call the team before. You just can't go to the player and say, what's going on, bro? We want you, come and sign with us. You've got to go through the proper channels. You've got to talk to West Ham. Teams have been very patient and honourable with them because they've had a European final to play. So while all of that's gone on, it's open season and they're willing to negotiate. And Arsenal was so deep in the negotiations with Rice, having talked to West Ham since March, that basically they had first refusal. And they always knew that he wanted to play in the Champions League, stay in London, and play for a team that he thought was going to be progressive. And that's Arsenal. And they tick all the boxes. Chelsea doesn't. Maybe Man United to an extent, but he doesn't want to go to Manchester. He wants to stay in London. So Arsenal are the only team that ticks all the boxes. So this is kind of a foregone conclusion to other teams and competitors around and rivals that he wants to go to Arsenal. So I think the onus is now is for other teams to sit back, wait for Arsenal to close the deal. And if it doesn't happen, then those teams will be right on the perch trying to sort of jump in there and snap up the player. Now Bayern Munich, again, they came out and said, look, we're never interested in the player in the first place. So I don't know what all the rumblings was about that. But then it's not London. And London is where the player wants to be. It's no surprise that they've dropped out. There may have been interest from Bayern Munich, but there's no interest anymore. So it's just Arsenal, Arsenal, Arsenal. And hopefully it will be done before the end of this week. That would be really nice. And then he'll have to, England's got 2 international games. So them guys are going to have to go out there and do a medical while he's with the teams. It's not difficult. It's been done many times before. And then I'll welcome it. I can't wait for it. Other news, as I said, Nielsen, that's been confirmed, the Reece Nelson deal, and I'm so happy about that. I still can't understand why some fans are just like, he ain't going to make it. He's not ready. I mean, God, we've been hearing all this for so long for so many players. Like, aren't you tired now? Because you said it against Nketiah. Some of you said it with Smith Rowe. And it's just like time and time again, our academy players who are our academy players. Some of these guys have been with us since 8, 9 years old. And to hear you guys talk about them like that, it's just like, come on, they're one of our own guys. Show them a little bit more support. And I don't think they've been getting that over the years. But it looks like that he'll be staying. So I'm really glad that that's happening. And like I said, he's dynamic, he's quick, his dribbles are among the top 3 in the team. He goes past players, he scores goals, he creates. And he hasn't even had much game time. His minutes are very low, so he just needs to play more. Now, I'm not sure about Arteta playing him on the left. It's funny, in a system where you've got the variety and flexibility to play players anywhere, don't tag players. Don't tag them. Don't say, right, Reece Nelson, you're now on the left. Because that's unfair to the whole makeup of the team. The players can play anywhere. So I don't buy that Reece Nelson is going to be moved to the left where there is so much competition there. Trossard, Jesus can play on the left as well if need be, Martinelli, Smith Rowe. There's a lot of competition on the left, guys. Don't move Nelson there in a sea that's just full of opportunity. Move him to the right. You can play a lot of players on the right as well, and we're not seeing Saka get enough support on that side. There's also news, guys, which is really good news, that the injured players like Tomiyasu, Saliba, and all of those guys will be ready for pre-season. El Nene and all of those guys, they will be ready for pre-season when it starts for training. And that's really good news to hear, because I was still under the assumption that Tomiyasu and Saliba may have had some issues in terms of making the pre-season sign-in there. So I'm really happy to hear that that is what's happening, and we're going to get all those players back. And I'm really looking forward to it now. There's also a matter of Man City, Gundogan, and Per Mertesacker is saying, and he must be saying it because he's heard something, but Per Mertesacker is saying that he's going to make a decision sooner rather than later. So that's good news for all the teams that are in for him. Everybody is still saying Barcelona, and that's because City are offering 1 year, Arsenal are probably offering 2 years, and then he's proven everything is already done in the Premier League. So, you know, are Arsenal really attractive? Or staying at City, is that attractive in comparison to Barcelona? They're offering him a 3-year deal. That means he'll be contracted till he's 35. Then he'll be able to play in the Liga. So a lot of people are now saying that Barcelona would be the preferred choice, but I'm not hearing anything outside of Arsenal don't have a chance. Because the one thing about these things is, when Arteta and Edu gets in front of these guys and talks to them, they're bought in. It's happened with so many of our players. So once you have that conversation with the boss and the technical director, they have the capability to just sway hearts and minds and bring them into the team. And I really do like that. So for me, let Gundogan have his holiday, bring him in front of the big man, and let the boss have his way and sway this guy in, and hopefully he'll come to the Gunners. So I would really like that. Whichever way it happens, guys, there's going to be a lot of money spent. There's going to be money earned because we're going to sell players, but we have to still think about the free contracts, you know, free transfers in order to make things easier on ourselves as we put bums on seats. I don't like the idea of selling a lot of players when you've already got a weak squad. So we've almost got double the work to do this summer. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys, in the comment section below. Shout out, big up to everybody, and like this video, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Peace out, guys.
Go stupid, go stupid, go stupid, go stupid, bitch. Yeah, you should've messed with me. You should've messed with me.